Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we saw that the Om is a name for Ishvara. Okay? That itself is revealing about the nature of Ishvara. Okay? So Akara stands for the physical universe, and the physical universe is as though divided as what? My physical body and the rest of the physical universe. Okay? And where is Ishvara?
Everywhere.
Here and there in the entire physical universe. Okay? Then it's not only the physical universe, there is something which is what we call the subtle body. Okay? Now the subtle again is divided as though what? My subtle body and then the subtle of everyone else. Okay? Where is Ishvara?
Everywhere.
In all. Is Ishvara only the sum total of the subtle bodies and whatever is happening here? No. Why?
Because there is something more to it.
Exactly. Right? So what is that? Causal. Right? Because right now the subtle bodies are thinking something, but 10 years from now, as Surya says, subtle bodies would be thinking totally different. Right? So that means Ishvara cannot only be now.
No, yeah.
Right? So that means that the subtle is not just the sum total of whatever is going on here. It's much more than that. You have to understand that. Right? Physical bodies is not just sum total of the present physical bodies. Because if you do that, what about all the past bodies and what about all the future bodies? Okay? You have to keep on refining your meanings, because this is how the Upanishads, they take you and they take you further and they take you further until the time that you see the realities accurately. Okay? Otherwise we have vague notions, concepts, erroneous notions. So it is really the methodology that is used is what we call Shakha Chandravat Nyayaha. The teacher, there is a method. If I want you to see, let's say, the one star. Okay? Now in the vast sky, okay, there is a second Nyaya which is called Sthula Arundhati Nyayaha. Okay? So that means it's a vast sky where there are so many stars. I want to show you Arundhati. Okay? So now how do I go about it? If I just say there, will you be able to get it? No. So that means I have to lead you, okay, to see that. Just there. How do I lead you? I start with the tree. Okay? I say, now look at that tree over there. Okay? Then from that tree, I said, okay, now look up. Okay? So you look at one star. Then you said, okay, now you go right. Okay? Then you go right. Then you said, okay, now do you see that little shining star on the right hand side? Then you said, okay, yeah. Then you said, oh wow, I got it. No, that is North Pole. Okay? Where there is North Pole, next to it there is Arundhati. Okay? What have I done? Started where?
Familiar.
with the tree.
Yeah, with the familiar.
Exactly. Then made your thinking go through, follow me till where? You see Arundhati. Okay? If I just show Arundhati like that, will you get it?
No.
It is leading. And how does one lead? Through a methodology. Highly sophisticated methodology. Okay? So that there is no doubt, there is no vagueness, and there are no concepts created which are not in keeping with what is. Okay? It's not like the teacher says and everybody takes whatever they want to take and go home and do whatever. It's not like that. Okay? So we saw that the Om, Ishvara, includes also the causal. The causal means of the past,
Present, and the future.
present and the future. Okay? So that means that causal which is making my body what it is, and the causal which is making the entire universe as what it is. Okay? So this is what we mean by Ishvara. Now you think that this understanding of Ishvara is pretty complete, but we still have to refine it slightly more. Okay? So, up to now, we have talked about the all intelligence. Okay? Now, this all intelligence, okay? Now, we also said that this all intelligence is also what? The truth of time and space within which the physical, the subtle, and the causal exist. Okay? Now, the question is, when we talk about the beginning of the universe, okay, what does it mean? That the time is yet to come, okay, the space is yet to come, and all the different objects are yet to come. So the question is, what is there before the coming of the universe?
The cause.
The cause. Okay. What is the cause? Yeah, exactly. Right? So that means Ishvara in form of all intelligence has to precede the creation. It cannot be, from which the creation has come. The time has come, the space has come, and all the objects within time and space have come. So the all intelligence before the manifestation was there or not? It was there. How was it there?
Unmanifest.
Exactly. Wonderful. Okay? In a potential form. Okay? So this potential form is given a name called Maya. Okay? Maya. Maya is that all intelligence potentially has the capacity to manifest. Manifest as what? Time, space, and every object within time and space. Okay? So that means that all intelligence is not just all intelligence, it is one more thing. Okay? It is what we call, it has the potential, it is unmanifest, but it has the potential to become manifest in form of Jagat. Okay? So that potential is what we call Shakti. Okay? Maya Shakti. Okay? The Shakti is what? Twofold Shakti. The Shakti is one Vikshepa Shakti and the second is Avarana Shakti. What is a Vikshepa Shakti? From just all knowledge, okay, to manifest as what? The capacity to manifest as time, space and object within time, space and make the whole thing show run. Okay, that is what we call the Shakti, the power. Okay, so power to project, become time, space and objects. Okay, as though. Now, if within time, space, object framework, if everybody knew, okay, that all that is here is one intelligence which is manifesting in different names and forms, Would anybody make that mistake about taking oneself to be one individual and everything else to be distinct from oneself? No. So that means there is another Shakti. Okay? Within that Shakti, there is a Shakti capacity to project, but there is a second Shakti, Avarana Shakti. Oh my God, you know.
No, you just mentioned it.
Okay, yeah. It is Avarana Shakti. That means it is there, but in your understanding, it is Avarana. Avarana is blocked. That means you don't see the world as one intelligence unless you make some effort and expose yourself to this knowledge or any other knowledge which makes you see that. Okay? So that Shakti includes Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. So Maya is a potential, okay, that has the capacity to project, and then within that projection each individual is also almost as though fooled by the appearance. Okay? And this is where we remember yesterday what Einstein was saying, there is an optical illusion, okay, which makes us believe we put a limit to ourselves and we live with imprisonment of that belief. Okay? That optical illusion is something which exists in many cases. Okay? What the eyes report may not be the truth at all. Okay? When it seems to me that the earth is flat. Okay? But what is the reality?
Curved.
It is a globe, right? It's curved. Okay? So that means that for very long time, the humanity, because of the perception, we made a certain conclusion. What? That the earth is flat. There was one person who discovered there was a doubt that arose in the mind of a person. Okay? What happened? He was looking at the sea and he was looking at the boat. Okay? All of a sudden, from his vision, the boat disappeared. So it got him thinking. He says, but how can the boat has fallen or what? Right? So that's when he began to think. Okay? And he discovered what? That the earth is not flat, but it is a globe. Okay? Did his perception of the flatness change after he discovered that it is a globe? No. Right? And the perception of everyone, did it change to become a globe? No. Okay? So that means the perception remained the same, but what changed? The understanding, the conclusion. Okay? So similarly, here, the perception is such, the world is set up in a way that it seems to each one, okay, I am only this much. Okay? And everybody else is distinct from me. The trees are distinct from me. The time, space is distinct from me. Okay? And I don't even know anything about the cause of the universe. Okay? So that means there is something, but the mind is given who can inquire into it and what? Find the answers for it. But who has to do the job of first inquiring? Who has to take the initiative?
You do.
You have to. Okay? So that means Avarana will remain, very nicely remain, until what?
You make the effort.
You make the effort. Exactly. Okay? So now, what are we doing? When we say we are removing layers of ignorance, what are we doing?
Removing the avarana.
Avarana. Okay? There is a Shakti which blocks what is the reality in our vision. What am I doing through this teaching? Removing all these false notions so that reality shines in front of me without any convoluted meaning created by me. Okay. So this, but from the standpoint of Ishvara, is the Ishvara the all intelligence? From the standpoint of Ishvara, it is a Shakti or is it within Avarana?
Stand.
So that means, does from standpoint of Ishvara, which is all knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Is he? Is there ignorance in all intelligence? Is there ignorance?
No.
Exactly. That is what? From the standpoint of all intelligence, it is a Shakti. That's why we call it Maya Shakti. Okay? From the standpoint of all intelligence, it is the capacity not only to project but to block. And that block can be removed. That potential is also given. Okay? The Vedas were given, which give Vedas doesn't mean anything. It means body of knowledge. Okay? The body of knowledge was given, which showed what? The truth of what is the nature of creation. And the whole teaching tradition was also made possible so that this knowledge is transferred to whoever who makes an effort to remove that avarana. So, from the standpoint of all intelligence, there is no avarana. It is his Shakti. It's Maya Shakti. But from the standpoint of any given object, it becomes a cover.
You said, were there two types of Maya Shakti?
Yeah, Vikshepa and Avarana. Vikshepa is the capacity to project, and the other one is capacity to cover, a veil. We call it a veil.
Oh,
Okay,
but both are kinds of Maya.
exactly. Both are, yeah, exactly. Within that power, what kind of power? You can ask, what is that power? Okay, that all knowledge has a power to manifest in form of the universe. What does that power include? Includes two types of power. One is Vikshepa, projection, and the other one is covering. Covering with reference to each individual what the reality is.
So you're saying even Isha has the, because I think of projection and blocking as the small mind, but even Isha,
No, from the standpoint of Isha, it's a capacity.
a
He's
capacity to
not,
project
capacity
and
to
block.
project it.
Oh.
To then cover with reference to an individual. And then the potential to remove for each individual is all within the capacity of Ishvara. Okay, so the Ishvara is not limited by Avarana. You see, it's the other side of Avarana, because of whom the Avarana is possible.
Yes.
You see what I mean? It's not conditioned by Avarana. You see that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The word projection is not in with the meaning of psychological projection.
It is manifestation.
It's from unmanifest to manifest.
Manifest.
Everything comes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly. Projection doesn't mean psychological projection. It means manifestation. Okay. It brings about time, space, and everything within time and space. Okay? Every object within time and space. So this is now your further understanding of what Ishvara is. Okay? Refining it more and more and more. Okay? Now, the question still remains. So now, let's look at the next. Okay, one more thing I want to point out for us to proceed further. Okay? Now, what is the relationship between Ishvara, the all-intelligence? Okay, we have, in fact, in English, you call all-intelligence as what? Omniscient. Okay, and all power as what?
Omnipotence.
Omnipotence. Okay, so that means now we understand Ishvara is not only omniscient, it is what? Omnipotent. Okay, so that means it is not only all intelligence, but it has the power. What kind of power? To become time, space, and every object within time and space.
Would you call that omnipresent?
And when that happens, Ishvara is omnipresent. Right? So there are three things. Omniscient, what does it mean? All knowledge. Omnipotent, which has all the power to do what? Manifest as time, space, every object within time, space. Okay? And when that happens, where is Ishvara? Omnipresent.
Omnipresent. Okay.
Okay? So this is what we understand as Ishvara. Now, the next question is, where am I in this whole scheme of things? Okay, so that is the next verse we will see. Tadityanabhisandhaya phalam yajnatapakriyaha danakriyascha vividhaha kriyante mokshakangshibihi. So here he says mokshakangshibihi is the people who desire what? Moksha. Okay. What do they first have to do? They have to grow from what? Thinking of oneself as an isolated being to the one who sees what? The presence of Om. Tat abhisandhaya. You need to first remove your notion of what. Where do you start when before you come to Vedanta or any other knowledge? You start by yourself being this little isolated person, the world as something which is other than you. There are vast universe within that. What do? You somehow try to manipulate the variables in your favor. This is how everybody lives one's life. Okay? From there, then you begin to see that that way, there is no way I can get the satisfaction that I'm searching for. Okay? So, what is the first step? That individual has to see oneself as not isolated being, but what?
It's a part of the whole.
Part of the whole.
Yeah.
Right? That is the first step. Part of the whole contains what? Every part. Okay? When you begin to see yourself as not one person struggling to somehow try to get things to work in your favor, to a person who sees the whole thing is only one and you are one of the manifestation, what a change in the level of your participation in the universe. There is a very fundamental change because the understanding is totally different. Okay, so that is the first level. Okay, so that means then that part, what is that whole which contains the part, you have to refine the understanding. You start, where did we start? With reference to the understanding of the whole, we started with
Physical.
only the order.
Oh, okay.
From order, where all did we move to?
Laws,
All the laws, then
forms,
the entire, all the forms, physical forms, subtle forms, the causal, time, space, right? Then all the capacities, your understanding of tat abhisandhaya means understanding the nature of the cause with whom you are related. Okay? That itself has to what? Has to undergo refinement. Okay? First you can say I'm related to the whole. But what is that nature of whole itself is not very clear. Okay? So you need to further increase your understanding of the whole to which you are related. In that understanding, what happens? Your very physical body, is it separate from the whole? No, it is one of the manifestation of the whole. Okay? Your very capacity to think and your body to move, your eyes to see, which are all the subtle functions, they become whose manifestation? Isha's manifestation. Okay? And all the causes which makes you who you are, they belong to who? They become manifestation of who? Ishvara's manifestation. So that means initially you say, I am part of Ishvara. Then what do you say? All that is here is Ishvara. Different. All that is here is Ishvara. Each form is nothing but Ishvara. Where this is Ishvara, where am I? Where can I put my I? In the cell?
consciousness.
Exactly. But have we come to consciousness yet? No. Not yet. Right? So that means that your answer is correct, but we have to come to that consciousness, right? So that means here in the physical body, what did we see? It is nothing but cells. Can I say I, the nature of I is as good as the cells? No. Why? Because as Surya says, cells come and go. Every 12 years, the cells that you had 12 years ago, none of those cells will remain in your body after 12 years. But you are present. Okay? So that means this physical body, you can't put your I in. Okay? Can you put your I in all the capacity of your senses and the mind? Where does it belong now? What gives the capacity of your mind to think? Isha. Okay. So that means there are those neurons which are physical neurons. There is something subtle going on which makes those neurons tick in a way that you can think constructively. Okay. So there is a physical eye, there is something subtle which is making those eyes see. Okay. There are physical ears, there is something subtle which is making the ears hear. And the order which will say that at the age of 42, your eyes will have to start wearing glasses, almost everyone. Okay? And your hearing, when you're 80, it will begin to decline. Subtle functions. The programming of how long, for what age, what do you need? Okay? There is all the presence of Ishvara there. Okay? So that means your I also cannot be in the subtle functions, because there is nothing but manifestation of Ishvara. Okay? Neurons are not I. Okay? Two neurons clicking together to produce a thought, does it become I? No. If thought was I, it should stick to me all the time. What happens? One thought comes, it's gone, silence emerges, another thought comes, goes. What is my relationship with the thought?
Transitory.
I am the one who witnesses the presence and absence of every thought that comes and goes. If the thought was my nature, will I be ever able to get rid of it? What is the intrinsic nature can never be got rid of. Like sugar is sweet, you can never take out sweetness from the sugar. The salt is salty, you cannot take out the saltiness. Okay? If I was the thoughts, then I should be stuck with all the thoughts that I have thought about from the time of my childhood to now. So right now when I'm seeing Meera, not only I'm seeing Meera, but all the thoughts that they would all be sticking together. Is that the case?
Thank God not.
Thank God not. Right? That means none of it is my intrinsic nature. What Surya was trying to show in meditation yesterday is making you see the relationship between different thoughts and I. Thoughts come and go. What he said is, I am what? The invariable who witnesses the coming and going of every thought. That means you are already free from all the thoughts. Okay? Thoughts don't stick to you. Even if you want to stick, you have a happy thought and you want to retain that thought for rest of your life, will you be able to do it? No. The thought's nature is to what? Go. It will go. Okay? So that means, but you remain seeing the presence and absence of every thought. Okay? So that means that mistake that we make, what is the nature of mistake that we make? My I gets mixed up with what? Thoughts. The nature of thoughts define what? Who I think I am. Whereas we saw there is a mechanism through which that happens. In the Antakarana, what did we see? Not only there are thoughts, there is what we call ahankara. Okay, that I sense which gets connected to different thoughts, which is what Einstein calls it as optical illusion. It works very intelligently, right? This I thought gets connected with emotions, cognitive capacities, memories, right? And that means I am sad, I am happy, I am feeling low today, I am feeling happy today. All these thoughts connected with I are what? Variable.
Variable.
Are variable, and they become what? Avarana. Okay. Why do they become avarana? Because for me, my identity is linked to all of that. Excellent.
So ahankara is the sense of identity.
Yes.
Sorry? Ahankara is a sense of I. Yeah.
I or
I.
identity?
No,
Or is it
I. Sense of I. Aham is I. The ahankara is the thought which has the sense of I. Okay? So that means that is how I continue to live my life. But that subtle is also not I. Okay? What about the causal? Is it I? The causal body, is it I? No. The causal body that I have is distinct from Parijats, and Parijats is different from Kashi. What is that? What constitutes that causal body?
Our past karmas.
Excellent. Okay, so that means is all past karmas. The past karma is one karma you? No. The accumulation of karma, do they become you? No. Right? So even the causal body, is it I? No. Right? So that means what is the relationship between I and the karma? I am there who performs the karma. I am not the karma and its result. Understand that? Right? So even the causal is not I. Okay? The causal of mine is distinct from causal of his, from hers. Each one has a different causal body. Okay? And based on that causal body, we take different forms. Okay? Take what? Different forms constitute physical body and subtle body, with which we experience the universe and get the fruits of whatever we are deserving as such. Okay? So that means even the causal body I am not. And where is that causal body? Who decides, okay, what is the unseen result of my action, and when and how to manifest a result for it? Isha, right? So that means in the causal there is the presence of Isha.
It's so difficult not to identify with the causal body.
Yeah, but it is just understanding what is the nature of I. Okay? So
But it's
yeah, that's why Vedanta
Yeah.
requires a certain, absolutely. But logically, anything that comes and goes, right, and you remain, is not your nature. It's a very simple logic behind it. Okay. So that means even the causal body you are not. And where there is a causal body, there is Ishvara. Right? That whole program, which is, we think that, many people ask, so who's keeping the track of, Meera did this and now, there is some person sitting up there and calculating everything. Okay, okay. So now, where is that? Right there is this intelligence. All omnipresent. Right now. All that is there, right? Don't think somebody's sitting out there and keeping track of each of you. Today you did this. Okay, so you have 1 plus. Today you have 2 minus. Nobody does that.
It's because we are all interconnected.
Because you think that you are one entity and Ishvara is something else who's overlooking you. That whole premise is a wrong premise. Okay? What is the reality? The whole manifestation is Ishvara. That intelligence doesn't require some other place. Right now it is calculating your intentions and whatever and the causes and producing the universe as it, it is supposed to manifest. It's not somewhere else. Where is else?
So pervasive. There's
Sorry?
no else.
Mind-boggling.
It's
Mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling.
Because it's doing everything, everywhere, all the time.
Exactly.
You know, of how many
Because we're all interconnected. We're thinking we're separate.
zillion,
Zillion, exactly.
We're
There's
all
no word,
interconnected.
no number
That is
for all that.
absolutely.
manifesting right
But
now.
Meera, you can see
As a group.
that the words can create that meaning in your mind. That you can capture the enormity of it.
Mm.
Okay? How did I produce that knowledge? Through my simple words. And what you understand? The enormity of it.
It's
Okay?
today my mind is like on overload.
Exactly. So what have I done? The words are limited, okay, but there is a methodology through which I have created meanings. It's nothing to do with what I think. Okay, this knowledge is what? It is almost as Ishvara showing you what is the nature of that Ishvara, and using what? The teacher to convey that to you. Okay? Who needs to be the teacher? Who will not add one's own opinions, conclusions, and what? Make it small where actually it is enormous. Right? So, here, through the teacher, Ishvara is showing you its own nature. The more you see it, you recognize, as Meera says, the enormity of what is involved. Okay. So, in the unmanifest is also Ishvara, the causal body, and the causes of everything. Okay, that is also Ishvara. The mumukshus, now from how the person, one who wants freedom, how has the person evolved? The person has evolved what? First, from that isolated to the understanding of Ishvara. Now, all the actions, yajna, dana, tapa, is done with what? The awareness of Ishvara. Everything that was taught in this chapter. Before, danam means for me it was just some charity, helping somebody else. Now, what is my understanding of dana?
By duty.
I am within the whole. Okay, that whole manifests in form of many, many different orders, and within that there is one manifestation, which is the so-called my one manifestation with which I am connected. Okay, and the world is set up in a way that not only I take, but I have an opportunity to participate. Okay, so what is going to be my participation in the universe after understanding Ishvara? Okay, my danam, my tapas, okay, my yajna, the whole thing is going to incorporate what?
Consciousness about Ishvara.
Exactly, the presence of that Ishvara, which I have been totally missing, or I had some partial understanding or some vague understanding. Okay, so everything is done, but now what has changed? The awareness and the perception, based on what I understand. Okay, now the mumukshu, who wants to know the reality, okay, has first now come to understand the nature of Ishvara, modified one's nature of participation in the creation based on the new understanding of what is the nature of the world. Okay, that is something which is non-negotiable. You have to grow to change the nature of your participation in the universe based on this new understanding. You can't continue to participate based on your insecurities and your projections and your feelings of smallness as before. Otherwise, there is a disconnect. And this is exactly what Surya was saying in this morning meditation, where I say that all that load, okay, that I have been carrying, okay, continues to interfere in how I participate. It doesn't allow me to participate fully with this new vision. Okay, so what do I need to do then? I need to address that. I cannot bypass that, because if I try to bypass that, but it will keep on interfering. Okay, so this is what we say, that is my job of helping myself to grow so that my understanding prevails, not my little child prevails. Okay, so this is what the whole nature of participation, yajna, dana, tapa, is all based on what? Your new understanding, and not through your past habits and past patterns of looking at the world. Okay, that has to happen. Then, once that is done, then you are prepared for one more reality, to understand one more reality. That is, what is that nature of that reality? Who are you? Okay? The physical body is cells, the mind is nothing but neurons and some subtle capacity, the causal is karma, karma is not you. Okay? There is one thing which is still remain, everything is absorbed by what? Ishvara. Okay? And what is the relationship between Ishvara and everything else? Are there two things?
No.
No. Okay, what is the relationship? Relationship is that of Satyam and Mithya. Okay, here can I say, once I understand that it is wood, are there two things, table and wood? No. If my vision is on wood, okay, I can see many different things. I can see that table, I can see that table, I can see those beds. Okay, there are, if my vision is on the forms, how many forms are there? Many. This windows, the wood in that window. Okay, but if my attention is on the wood, how many things are there?
One
Wood
thing.
paneling, the ceiling.
Well, it's only one. This one manifesting in many different names and forms. So we are not saying that this form is different from that form. We are not trying to collapse all the form and to see some undifferentiated reality. That's not what we are doing. While those forms exist, if I shift my understanding and if I shift my focus, okay, while there are many, what do I see? One. Is it like a positive, some kind of a projection?
No.
No. It's based on
Reality.
what is.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means between Jagat and Ishvara, what is the relationship?
Jagat is a manifestation
Of Ishvara. So the Jagat has dependent reality. Okay. There is a value addition. Okay. From this, all intelligence emerges minutest particles. Okay. Those minutest particles combined in different permutations and combinations, okay, to become all these names and forms. They function differently, okay, they have different characteristics, okay, and in that interaction you produce emotions. Okay, my little story, which seems like such a big story, okay, and it makes somebody else cry and have empathy for me. The whole game is going on, which is what? The entire thing is dependent upon what? One thing, which is all knowledge, which has the power to manifest in form of all these different names and forms. And within that, all these interactions to take place. Okay, so this is what we call Ishvara. Okay, now the I am, I still have to discover where is the place of this I am in all of this. You have to understand one thing, okay? The I am, you don't need Upanishads to tell you that you are. There is only one thing in this universe which is self-evident to you. That is what? I am. Only because you know I am, you have a question about what? What is my nature? What is the nature of the cause of the universe? What is the nature of the universe? What precedes? I am. Okay? So therefore, I am is the only thing in this universe which is self-evident. For everything else, what? It is evident to you. Evident to you through what?
Veils.
Huh?
Sorry. No.
Evident to you
Through logic.
through your
Perception.
two
Perception
major things,
and
perception and inference. Okay, so that means anything that I want to know, from simple thing of what is there in this glass. Okay, what kind of, it's water with some mint. Okay, this, what am I using? My perception, my eyes, which capture this external object. It creates a signal in my brain, and my brain, what happens? Creates an image of this glass, and then I understand, oh, this is glass. Okay, so this is what we call the perception. But when I talk about how old is the universe, and if I discover it is billions of years, is it my perception? Am I there billions of years ago to perceive the coming of the universe?
No.
And still I can, with certain accuracy, arrive at how old is the universe? How?
Inference.
Inference, exactly. Highly sophisticated. Okay? Inference means your inference can be right or it can be wrong,
Yeah.
right? Because not every inference is right.
Right.
Okay? So if I see Alka smiling, okay, my inference is she's really happy, but she may be just, whatever.
polite.
So that means my inference, right? What?
Being polite.
Being polite. Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right?
Good line. yes.
Absolutely. Right? So that means our inferences can be what? Right or wrong. Okay? And this is how we keep on refining our knowledge. Okay? We use inference, we come up with certain set of thinking which at that time seems what? Uncontradictable. So they get accepted as knowledge. Okay? Then what happens? Somebody sees the fallacy in that inference and shows something different. Now, if that person is able to prove that there is no fallacy in that person's thinking, what do? We give up the previous and we take the next. Okay? So this is how all the knowledge takes place. Okay? Through perception and inference. Okay? So now, can the knowledge, do I know that I am as a result of perception and inference? No. That's the only one thing that is available to me, not as a result of perception and inference, but as self-evident. I am. Because I am, I use my perception and inference to know things of the world. Okay? But for knowing the nature of I, what pramana do I have? How do I know what is that nature of I which is using perception and inference to know things of the world? I am,
Yeah.
but my I am is what has happened because of avarana. It gets connected to what? my physical body. So that's why when I say I am, if I ask you, Meera, who you are, she'll say I'm a female. I'm this
Doctor.
many years old. I'm a doctor. Okay. I am daughter of somebody. Okay. I have achieved this. This is my profession. These are all I, which is self-evident, connected to what?
My physical body.
Either the physical body
Subtle
or
body.
the sukshma, which is making her understand things or go and study or whatever. Okay. And the experiences that are coming in her life because of what? Some past causes. So that means her self-evident I is mixed with what? In her perception, that self-evident I gets mixed up with characteristics of body, mind, sense complex. So there is an error there. Okay? Because that we have already negated as not I. But in my opinion, what is my nature? Connected to all these different things. Right? So therefore, that means that self-evident nature of I, because of Avarana Shakti, what happens? It gets connected to a given set. Okay? Physical body, subtle body, and causal body. So who is going to show me my real nature and not the mistaken identity that I have believed myself to be?
The consciousness about Ishvara.
That is the teaching.
Teaching.
The teaching will now show you what is your real nature. Okay? The I, which is self-evident, you don't need Veda, you don't need Gita to tell you that you are. Okay? But your I is mixed up with certain things because of what? The Avarana Shakti.
Yeah.
Okay? So what does the teaching do?
It
Removes the
removes
avarana.
that
Removes that Avarana so that you can see that self-evident I in its true light. That is a last card, Vedanta.
part.
Okay? Then you have to inquire what is the nature of this self-evident I. If it is not the physical body, if it is not my subtle functions, if it is not my causal, then what is it? Just
All intelligence.
no. That whole thing is all intelligence, but what is then your nature? Okay? There. Again, come back. How will you access? Even this self-evident, where is the access? Where is the place where you understand the nature of I and where you understand the nature of everything? I is self-evident, but if you were to remove the avarana, what do you need?
No.
You need the
You need your mind. Because the mind is the place where you begin to inquire, okay, are these conclusions which I have made about myself, are they true or not? You need the mind. Without mind, can that inquiry take place? Right now when you are listening to the Shastra and you are re-understanding the world, what are you applying?
Mind.
Mind. Absolutely. It's obvious, right? The mind is where the mistake is, where it has to be removed. There. Very easy.
How to remove that?
Okay? So therefore, you need a mind, okay, to now re-understand everything. Okay? Now, so that means now the teaching will use your mind, okay, to show you your real nature. Okay? Because that's where the understanding has to take place. What did Surya do in the morning class? The thoughts come and go. What is that presence? The invariable presence because of which the presence and absence of thoughts are known. What is it?
Say again.
When I am, it is self-evident. I am making a mistake of who I am with reference to my body, mind, sense complex. The mistake is taking place where?
In the mind.
In the mind. Where do I need to remove it?
In the mind.
In the mind itself.
Ah.
Right? Now, what do I use to show you your real nature? Your mind. Okay. So now, what did Surya show you in the morning? The mind, which is Antakarana, has all these different thoughts. Okay? The thoughts come and go, and he shows you what is the invariable presence. Okay? Because of which the coming and going of every thought is known to you.
A witness.
What is the nature of that witness?
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
Oh, hame bolai.
Exactly. This is the right time to say it. Okay? So that is the consciousness. Chit. Okay? In Sanskrit, it is called Chit. Chit Swarupaha. Okay? So that means that awareness is the invariable. Has it ever been affected by the nature of thought? No. What is the relationship between thought and awareness?
Thoughts moving. Awareness is still.
Exactly. One is the thought is coming and going, awareness is invariable. Okay? That is one relationship, very important. That means awareness is already free from every thought that takes place. It's never bound. The binding is an illusion. Okay? It is never affected by the thoughts that take place because they go and it remains as it is. There is a second very important relationship between mind, the thought and awareness. What is the content of every thought? I am thinking of tree. I'm thinking of mountain. I'm thinking of water. Okay? What is that thought? Mountain thought is different from river thought. River thought is different from ocean thought. Ocean thought is different from tree thought. But in every thought, what is the content? Thought is like a form. I'm giving you a clue. But what is the content of that thought? The content of the thought
It's your awareness.
is the awareness. Exactly. Okay? The awareness as though assumes what?
It's a tree or
It's a tree
mountain.
or mountain or whatever. Okay? So that means there are two very important relationships. One is while the awareness is independent of being a thought, the thought is what?
Dependent.
Mithya. It has a dependent reality. It cannot exist without the presence of awareness. Very important. Otherwise they become two things. One is thought and the other is awareness. Okay? While the awareness is sat, the thought is mithya. Mithya means the thought cannot exist without the awareness. But awareness can exist without any given thought. Satya mithya relationship. Okay? Now, you are in a big fix. Okay? Because on one hand, you have discovered all that is here is Isha. Then you have also discovered I to be awareness. Okay? Then you have to finally understand, in order to understand the totality of the vision, you have to understand what? The relationship between what?
I and
And Ishvara. Okay? That is in the next class. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.